No, I did not forget about part 2 of the LEGO Iceberg explanation video. I've just been trying to make this video in between my other responsibilities like being employed and touching grass, for example. But regardless, welcome to part 2 of the LEGO Iceberg, and if you have not yet watched part 1, go check that out for obvious reasons. Thank you for all the feedback on the first video and my Bionicle video, so let's get right to it. To commemorate the 150th LEGO Brickhead, the company decided to hold a fan vote to determine which theme the set should come from. The 4 themes in question were Star Wars, Minecraft, Lilo and Stitch, and Jaws. This inclusion was a surprise to some, as LEGO had never released any products based on Jaws, and many people didn't even know LEGO had the license. Lilo and Stitch did have one Stitch minifigure from the Disney Collectible Minifigures series, but that was it up until that point. Not so surprisingly, the winner would end up being Star Wars, meaning that yet another Star Wars Brickhead was released. This ended up being Ahsoka Tano, originally from the Clone Wars, and some people were disappointed that a very popular theme was given yet another Brickhead over all these less popular themes, if you will, but Ahsoka is definitely one of the more popular Brickheads in recent memory. The LEGO Inside Tour is considered to be the ultimate fan experience and gives LEGO fanatics access to the inner workings of the LEGO Group. You can see how LEGO bricks are manufactured and take a tour through the company's history in Old Kurt Christensen's house. Another big draw to the tour is the Inside Tour set, a specially designed set that is only given out to tour attendees. The model changes each year, thus making this one of the most exclusive and sought-after LEGO sets in production. Since beginning in 2005, these sets can range from LEGO-related machinery to various vehicles. These sets are often very limited in their production, usually having like 80-something units produced in total. As mentioned in the previous video, Chima was supposed to succeed Ninjago and also had his own Cartoon Network show similar to that of Ninjago. Unlike the Clutch Powers entry, it is actually canon that these two themes take place in the same universe. In the Ninjago TV show, there are 16 realms, and one of which correlates to Chima. The first appearance of Chima in Ninjago took place in the 5th season of Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu. While Moro and Lloyd traversed dimensions during a battle for the Realm Crystal, they landed on Chima's Spiral Mountain, where multiple Chima characters, including Laval, were sitting. The two are only in the Chima realm briefly before going to the next world in the show. Later on in the 11th season of the show, Wu and Pixel open a portal to Chima, unleashing a group of Chima beavers. They return to their home after Pixel distracts them with a broken broom. This confirms the continuity between the two franchises and also offers many theories for a LEGO world of interconnected themes. Zack the LEGO Maniac was an early mascot for LEGO in the late 80s. He is a tubular denim jacket-wearing kid who, as you probably guess, is very much into LEGO. LEGO originally named him Zack, but when a Canadian toy company called Zack's came along in the late 80s, LEGO decided to change the name to Jack to avoid unintentionally advertising for this building toy brand, although LEGO would later change it back to Zack later on. In the 90s, M-Tron, Blacktron, and other related themes were advertised by Mac, the LEGO Maniac. From 1990 to 94, the LEGO Maniac advertised several themes, including Blacktron Future Generation and Nautica. The last LEGO Maniac commercials aired in 1994. In set instructions for some older themes, a cartoon LEGO Maniac was shown adventuring within the theme and set being built. Zack the LEGO Maniac was later released in physical minifigure form in 2016 as an exclusive LEGO brand retail managers conference promotional gift. That was a mouthful. LEGO made a life-size pistol back when they used to make wooden toys, along with several other guns. These were discontinued when LEGO updated their approach toward their product offering to be, well, much more pacifist. I will try to pronounce this guy's name right and probably fail, but here we go. Zbigniew Lebiera is a Polish political artist and one of the leading exponents of the Polish critical art movement of the 1990s. He's possibly best known in some circles for his LEGO concentration camp art project titled Konzentrationslager, created in 1996, of which there were 7 different sets. The largest is a full model of a concentration camp, including barbed wire and guards. Smaller sets included a medical experiment room and a crematorium set. Each of these were packaged in boxes featuring the LEGO logo and the statement, This work by Zbigniew Libera has been sponsored by LEGO. Initially, there was very little reaction to the work, but in 1997, when a curator refused to show the work at an art show, scandal ensued. LEGO threatened legal action, but later dropped the case after public backlash, mainly from outside Poland, and the fact that one of the sets had already been purchased by the Jewish Museum in New York, giving the piece some credibility against allegations of anti-Semitism that some directed towards Libera, who claimed that LEGO sponsored the project because the company donated all of the pieces used to the artist, unaware of what the result of the use of these bricks might be. LEGO disagreed with this claim and emphasized that contribution isn't equal to sponsorship. Many believe that the main set was actually mass-produced and available for sale in regular toy stores, and also accused Libera of mocking the Holocaust. In 2012, the Museum of Modern Art in Warsaw purchased one of the camp sets from a Norwegian collector for €55,000, calling it one of the most important works of contemporary Polish art. To this day, it is very polarizing to many, as the debate as to whether or not it is actually art or trivialize a very dark chapter of mankind is disputed to this day. Another controversy involving a Polish guy, this time regarding the Monster Fighters theme from 2014. The controversy commenced when a priest named Sławomir Kosterzewa, maybe I pronounced that correctly, I don't know, said that the ghoulish designs risked leading children to the dark side, and research proved LEGO characters now look angrier, which refers to the Angry Faces entry from Part 1. He claimed traditional friendly fellows had been replaced by dark monsters, and LEGO was now a tool of Satan that could destroy their child's soul. He additionally added that facial expressions may lead to confusion between good and evil. It appears that the good suffer in battle, and the villains have a face showing their satisfaction with their evil deeds, he said. LEGO was not the first toy considered evil by the outspoken priest, as he had previously spoken out against other seemingly harmless toys like Hello Kitty, which he claimed promotes violence and other things I will not get into for the sake of keeping this video appropriate. Unlike with the Jabba's Palace controversy, another bizarre controversy, a spokesperson for LEGO was not available for comment. That concludes the first level of the second half, or really, what is level 6. Like I said, the second half of this iceberg is quite a bit more obscure and, in my opinion, a lot more interesting. Kenny the Yellow Classic Spaceman is a character in LEGO Worlds and the LEGO Movie 2 video game, but you cannot use his parts in the character customization, likely because the yellow pants could make naked LEGO characters. LEGO doesn't seem to have a major problem with printing blood on its characters. I mean, just consider Starkiller from Star Wars as an example, and of course the Zombie Bride from Monster Fighters, that theme which is, allegedly turning children to the dark side. There's clearly blood coming from the minifigure's mouth, which is pretty surprising considering LEGO's policy on that kind of thing. The minifigure is also quite valuable, being worth over $50 as it only has appeared in one set. Whether or not the value correlates to the controversy is not entirely clear. I really do not know what this one refers to and could not find any information on it. If you have any idea what this does refer to, comment below. Santa and Han Solo are both playable characters in the LEGO Indiana Jones video game. To unlock Han, you need to find 5 LEGO Star Wars characters in various levels in the game, and Santa Claus is a secret character which appears in the Into the Mountains level. Of all the Legoland parks, only one has shut down permanently. Legoland Germany opened in 2002, but there was actually a different Legoland in the nation before it. Located in the city of Sierksdorf in northern Germany, this park operated from 1973 to 76. The park was sold in 1976 and is now Hansa Park. It's pretty difficult to find much information about this park online. I did find one article from the 1970s which was in German. Basically, it just seems like this park did not meet its revenue and attendance expectations and shut down shortly after. Lester is the mascot of the Leicester Square LEGO store. The store sells this minifigure for about $5 and is exclusive to the store, although the minifigure was not always available for purchase. It was initially given away at the store's grand opening event and was limited to 275 copies, which frustrated many LEGO fans. The minifigure was sold by scalpers for hundreds online, but once LEGO decided to mass produce the minifigure, scalpers then became angry because the value went down so much. Generally speaking, most people were pretty happy. Each individual is only allowed to purchase 3 of this minifigure per visit. It is packaged in the usual poly bag containing 5 pieces. Seatron is an unreleased sub-theme of LEGO Space that would have taken place on a fantasy nautical planet. Several new monorail parts were made for the theme, but when the monorail from LEGO Futron failed to make much money, development of Seatron reportedly stopped. There were new LEGO aliens designed for the theme, but the LEGO company stated that it was not yet time to have aliens in their sets. Images from the unreleased Seatron theme have resurfaced over the years, including a Futron-style monorail station and an Aquazone-looking train. When asked about the theme, Jens Nygaard-Knudsen actually verified that Seatron later became Aquazone. The Sea People somewhat resemble what became the Stingray faction in the theme, and the influence even extends into the Atlantis sets released in 2009. That concludes Level 7. Is it really an iceberg chart without some lost media? Most of the 2005 LEGO City commercials are now lost, including all of the English versions, although there's some that were recovered in various other languages. LEGO was set to release a set from their LEGO Games theme based on the then popular TV show Phineas and Ferb in 2012. LEGO Games, of course, was a theme based around LEGO-fied board games, and included in this set would have been micro versions of Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated and Phineas and Ferb's house, among others. You can find instructions to build the set online, and the set didn't really have any exclusive pieces unless you consider a few printed tiles. As a kid, I used to find out about the upcoming LEGO sets by checking on Brickpedia when my mom would let me use her laptop. I remember seeing that a Phineas and Ferb set was set to release, but unlike the other sets on the page, it never had photos and didn't really get much detail about its release. A few years later, I remembered the set and went back to see what happened to it, only to find out that there were now photos of the set despite it not being released. I assumed at first that this was because the show was past its prime and being discontinued, but the show ran until 2015, multiple years after the set would be released. The show does still have some popularity to this day. Why exactly this set was never made is really unclear even now. Maybe it had something to do with LEGO games not selling well, I'm really not sure. The 4x4 corner is an old LEGO part, more formally known as Part 702. It sadly had a relatively short production span, lasting from 1955 to 1969. I think this is just on the chart because it's an old and cool LEGO piece, I don't know. I am not totally sure what this entry is supposed to refer to, but it could refer to LEGO store employees and other store employees opening up LEGO minifigure packs before the customer had a chance to get their hands on them on store shelves. People who work at the LEGO store, believe it or not, are pretty into LEGO usually, so it's not out of the question for them to open up the minifigure packs for their own collections before putting them out on the floor. I remember a toy store I would go to when I was a child that would straight up open some of the minifigure packs, so you could buy them pre-built without guessing which one it was or awkwardly feeling the bags. This can also refer to the Mr. Gold disaster, which honestly is deserving of its own YouTube video. I kind of want to make a retrospective about what went wrong with that whole thing, so if that's something you would be into, be sure to leave a comment. There was a lot of controversy caused by the LEGO Ghostbusters Firehouse headquarters after its reveal, mostly because it was quite similar to an ideas project created by a fan by the name of Sergio, who thought that it would go very well with the recent LEGO Ideas Ghostbusters Ecto-1. Sergio contacted the LEGO group, which he had actually visited months earlier, about it, and they issued a response stating the following. We debated whether or not to share this news with you early during your visit to Legoland in June. However, we chose not to do so in accordance with our confidentiality policy. You're correct in noting that we could have employed an NDA, and we sincerely regret not making the extra effort to share the confidential news of the upcoming set. LEGO went on to add that the Firehouse headquarters was developed independently of any LEGO Idea submission depicting the Firehouse and is the result of an ongoing relationship with Sony Pictures. LEGO designers planned and created the set by referencing the Ghostbusters film, and through collaboration with the studio. LEGO also added that ideas projects based on already existing LEGO licenses are likely to be similar to concepts already in the company's product pipeline. By agreeing to the guidelines and submitting a project, LEGO Ideas members acknowledged that any overlap or coincidence is entirely unintentional and that the pre-existing product pipeline supersedes any fan-submitted ideas. LEGO did send him a copy of the Firehouse headquarters when it came out. He also did respond, noting that he was happy about the set release, but was quite disappointed that LEGO did not reach out over it. He felt like it was unfair, as in June 2015 he met with the LEGO Ideas team in Denmark, but as previously mentioned, they did not talk about the upcoming set, which he said felt wrong and kinda hurt. He also mentioned that it leaves a bitter taste when he looks at both buildings next to each other, as they have quite a few similarities. I'm not totally sure what this one refers to beyond the obvious. The manufacturing of LEGO bricks occurs at many locations around the world, including Billund, Denmark, and somewhat recently in China. About a decade ago, LEGO outsourced some parts like complicated mold or prints to a plant in China which uses different plastic. Now, I'm not totally sure if they still do this, but among the outsourced parts at one point at least were the collectible minifigures and the ultra-detailed Star Wars molds like the Tauntaun or the Ewok. Quality used to be somewhat bad, and while it has gotten better, it's still not on par with the European brick. For sets and boxes, take a look at the top panel where it says components made in whatever country. For example, Chinese plastic feels a little lighter, and minifigure limbs have numbered indentations on their inner sides facing the torso and hips. If you have any of the collectible minifigures from the first few series, you might know that they were not made from ABS plastic like most LEGO. Of course, this is no longer the case, as CMFs are now made from the same type of plastic as any other minifigure. The LEGO Banknote 100 print is a popular LEGO piece that appears in all sorts of different LEGO sets. There are no other denominations of this piece, only 100. This was referenced in a scene in the LEGO movie in which Emmett buys an overpriced cup of coffee. There's probably not much deeper meaning to this entry beyond that. It's just kind of funny that everything in LEGO City costs $100, from a small scoop of ice cream to an entire pepperoni pizza. That wraps up level 8, onto level 9. The LEGO City Prison Island minifigure pack, otherwise simply known as the 2016 Police Accessory Set, included a cop minifigure holding a black nozzle piece, which was supposed to be a baton, but it looked more like a gun, as the old product pictures have him holding it like a gun, which is kind of weird because a baton is not held that way. LEGO City Police, of course, don't use guns or batons, so it was a bit bizarre as to why it was added. It was later silently removed from the set production without any notice and replaced by a second pair of handcuffs. LEGO Time Cruisers was a short-lived LEGO theme that lasted from 1996 up until 1997, and it was LEGO's only attempt at building an entire theme around the concept of time travel. However, the theme was actually long predated by a comic series in the European LEGO magazine Click magazine. Starting in 1994, the series was initially called Time Buster. In 1996, the comics were adjusted to more closely match the newly released LEGO theme. These comics were in German and seemingly unknown to many LEGO fans outside of the region until a few years ago. Some fans of the Rock Raiders theme took it upon themselves to translate the comics into English, and I suppose the reason that this is on the chart is because the comic came before the theme, although it was only published in parts of Europe and was quite obscure up until recently. LEGO had the license for Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 sets in the early 2000s, but why did they not make sets based on the third Spider-Man movie in the Sam Raimi trilogy? Well, they simply did not have the license. Mega Bloks did. In 2004, Marvel and Mega Bloks announced a multi-year license agreement, which allowed Mega Bloks to use several Marvel characters in order to make various movie-related products. How did LEGO lose the license? Was it because they wanted to pick up Batman? Did they pick up Batman because they lost the Spider-Man license? Some people wonder about this even today. In 2009, Marvel was purchased by The Mouse, which of course LEGO had a long-standing relationship with, and in July of 2011, it was announced that LEGO obtained a license to the Marvel characters as an expansion of its license agreement with Disney. Around the same time, the company also expanded its license deal with Warner Brothers and DC. It's also interesting that LEGO and Mega Bloks both had the Spider-Man license at the same time, and both companies produced sets based on the web-slinging property as well. Mega Bloks would later lose the license, and LEGO, of course, continues to make Spider-Man sets to this day. When LEGO released the Taj Mahal LEGO set in 2008, it was the biggest set ever produced with 5,922 pieces. LEGO announced that it was going to re-release the set in 2017, this time with one more piece than the original. This single piece was a brick separator which made this the second biggest set by piece count at the time of release. I figured this might be some special brick separator when I first saw this particular entry of the Iceberg Chart, but it's actually the same orange brick separator you get with plenty of LEGO sets. As for the build, it's not a remodeled set, but rather a pure re-release of the same set, but under a different set number. The new version actually also includes some updated part molds, but other than that, it's essentially the same set. In 2009, Roblox changed the stud shape in the popular game from round to square, potentially due to fear of legal trouble from the LEGO group. LEGO didn't and likely couldn't successfully sue Roblox over this kind of thing, but the square stud element still remains today. Jupiter, Juno, and Galileo are 3 LEGO minifigures made out of a special space-grade aluminum and sent to Jupiter by NASA. These minifigures were only produced for this space mission in question, and they're not actually LEGO minifigures, rather they're these figurines that are shaped like minifigures. They don't have the articulation of an actual minifigure. If they were ever sold, these would go for at least $100,000, at least according to the creator of the Iceberg Chart here. Orange overalls refers to this minifigure used in the Legoland Germany factory in the packing machine as an illustrative model behind acrylic glass. According to Bricklink, these figures were glued as the machine put them in one piece into a plastic tray of a small set. Occasionally, one would fall on the floor and be picked up by a visitor, considering that the protective wall ended a few centimeters above the floor. Also, a few leaked before being glued and used in the machine. The leftover stock was sold in the factory shop when they replaced this machine. This minifigure is now very rare, and there are no active records of the minifigures selling on Bricklink, at least within the past several months. Anyway, that wraps up level 9 of the Iceberg Chart, and of course it's time for the final level. Cue the spooky music. Chase McCain in LEGO City Adventures Season 3 was a rumor that the protagonist from the LEGO City Undercover video game would appear in Season 3 of the animated TV show, which, after the 3rd season aired, ended up being fake, as McCain did not appear in any episodes of the show. This minifigure was given out before a Boston Red Sox game at Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts at some point during the summer of 1999. LEGO and the Boston Red Sox collaborated for a Kids Day promotion and also gave away Duplo bricks to younger fans with the team logo on them. Information about the minifigure first unsurfaced after someone made a web forum post in early September 1999 about a baseball minifigure a friend got him at a recent Red Sox game. After some discussion over whether or not it was actual LEGO, it was concluded that it was in fact an actual LEGO minifigure, but questions about the promotion remained. According to a Fenway Park representative, gate promotion production quantity for kids was usually somewhere between 5,000 to 12,000 pieces, although that does not necessarily mean that many minifigures and these Duplo pieces were made. It's also crazy because at that point in time, the stadium held like 35,000 people, so considering that like a third of the people in attendance for this game would be children is kind of funny. These did not come in individual boxes and were actually packed loose inside bigger boxes, which were placed at the gates for volunteers to distribute. Flash forward to 2010 when a Eurobricks user made a post asking about a motherload of this mysterious minifigure that he came across. The user said that their aunt worked at Fenway Park in the 90s and had a total of 90 of the Red Sox minifigure. At the time of the post, Bricklink had only sold 2, a new one for $100 and a used one for $57. Today, however, the minifigure is worth quite a bit more on Bricklink. There are currently 2 new condition listings as of me making this video, one being listed for $650 and the other being listed for the US dollar equivalent of just over $730. The minifigure itself is kind of generic, the only unique piece being the printed torso, The back is blank, as was standard for the LEGO minifigure of this time. When exactly these were distributed is kind of disputed by many. It can be concluded, however, that these were handed out at a game against the far better New York Yankees, either in a home series in May or August of that season. The CITV idents are TV idents, which are little bumpers on TV channels to identify the station. LEGO got involved in some of these for the British free-to-air children's TV channel, and they are kind of strange but also kind of funny. Bricklink is a massive database and LEGO market, so it's bound to have quite a few odd LEGO-related items listed. These include toothbrushes and of course even smoking supplies. From LEGO branded ashtrays to LEGO lighters, there are definitely some odd items that you can find on the site. Of course, these items are pretty antique and made at a point in time where, well, smoking was a lot more socially accepted. LEGO planned to release an architecture skyline set of Las Vegas, but it was later delayed while it was redesigned to omit the Mandalay Bay Hotel, where a tragic and rabbit hole of an event occurred the year prior. Set 21038 Las Vegas was never released and was later replaced by Set 21047 Las Vegas, which included the Bellagio Resort instead. For a while, LEGO was very sensitive about images of the original set and asked LEGO media sites to remove any pictures that they published. Apparently, a few copies did actually release, as a shop in Johannesburg, South Africa had the set. It's not known why the set was available in South Africa of all places, but it is now, as one might guess, one of the rarest LEGO sets ever. For the final entry on the iceberg, we have this glow-in-the-dark LEGO Peace Cross. These crosses are Christian crosses produced by the LEGO Group from 1952 to 1958 as fundraisers for specific churches and organizations. These were likely distributed in Northern Europe by these organizations, not by LEGO itself. The text reads in Danish, "At this cross, a symbol of suffering, a candle is lit, the Son of Mercy." While found on Bricklink, it doesn't seem that any of these have been listed on the site, at least recently, for sale. Simply put, this is a very interesting item and bit of history. Well, that concludes the LEGO Iceberg Chart. Let me know what video you would like to see me make next in the comments section. Of course, I'm still pretty new to YouTube, so thank you all for your support and patience while I worked on this project. Be sure to like this video to help the algorithm push it out to other people who might like this kind of content on YouTube. And of course, check out my other videos if you like this one as well.